Welcome to the Holy Spirit's Curriculum of Joy podcast. My name is Annick Brofman, and I'm your host. My guest today is Annick Brofman. Hi.
Hi. Hello, Annick. Hello, everybody.
So wonderful to have you here.
I'm very happy to be invited.
So I would like to ask the big question that I like to ask at the beginning of every podcast when it's appropriate, and that is, how did you get to see the world the way you do today? And that's so that you can tell us your journey, how you came to be here.
Okay. So, well, it started, it's a long story. Well, I would say, it was 33 years ago. I was really interested in spirituality. It was like the new age time, and I was a social worker, and I was just interested in having some answers about spirituality outside of religions. I had spent 15 years in a Catholic school, and I didn't have much of a sense of what life is about, looking for answers anyway. So my secretary, she had attended the class with this Martin Brofman, and she thought the class was wonderful, and she asked me to, she said, you have to attend the next one. So I did. And I fell in love with the system. Fell in love with Martin too, but that's, something else. And it was like, in the Catholic school, what I appreciated the most was the love, unconditional love. And because I think it's just wonderful the way it is, it is experienced even in the Catholic school, just wonderful. So when I met Martin and the classes, we talk a lot about unconditional love, and that's what touched me very deeply. It felt like I'm home, with the class. And finally meeting someone who understands love the way I understand. Now, I'm not the only one, I think everybody attending a class of the body mirror system, they feel the same, because the quality of love is so wonderful. So it's not my experience, it's just not unique. But anyway, that's what happened. And also, when I was in this Catholic school, I was in love with Jesus and the healer, and I mean everything about him, the compassion, everything, and the healer also. So my dream was to being able to heal people with energy, with my hands. And I had heard that you have to be born with a gift for that. And if you're not born with a gift, well, maybe it's for another lifetime, So when I attended the class with Martin, in fact, I had no idea what it was talking about. My secretary told me, come, it's wonderful. I went. I had no idea it was about healing. So the first thing we do, the first day is learn to, we feel energy, direct energy, see energy. And for me, I was like, wow, I can do it. I don't need to be born with a gift for that. Everybody is a healer, It's one of the talents that we have that we might not want to increase, or maybe some people are not interested in. I was. So it was a revelation for me. So that's how I started, just attending this first class. And then I have to say at that time, it was like I'm Aries. So I'm very logical, and I'm very suspicious. And I thought, this is too good to be true. So I'm going to be the one who finds, what is wrong. And I attended a few classes, and the more it went, and the more I was just amazed by the quality of the method and the tools. And that's why I decided to do the training and to teach. So I've been teaching for the past 30 years, and every class feels like it's the first time I'm teaching. I have passion with what I'm doing. So I don't know if it is enough of a story for you, but this is how I started, you know.
Yeah, that's the quality of unconditional love as the basis for healing. I think you can expand on that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, you know, in the method, well, it's about healing, okay? And we work with the idea that everything starts with the consciousness, just everything. Everything happening in your body, everything happening in your life. It's like a lucid dreaming. And when you have a symptom, it's because of stress in the consciousness. So what Martin did, you know, it was studying what makes it possible, the healing. What are the ingredients making it possible? Because we know healing is possible. We have healings happening all over the world with all kind of different methods, or sometimes spontaneously, you know, like the spontaneous remissions. So we know it's possible. And the thing is, why does it happen? What are the ingredients? So that's what the body mirror system is about. You know, what are the ingredients to make it possible? So one of the ingredients, of course, if everything starts in the consciousness, is how to make the transformation process very efficient. So it requires something in the consciousness of the person receiving the healing. It's a co-creation with the healer, so it requires also ingredients in the consciousness of the healer. And I would say one of the main ingredients is the faith in the process, you know, the confidence. So it's the confidence of the healer in the healer and the confidence of the healer in himself. So we can work on that. And of course, if we're coming back to unconditional love, when the healer is, you know, giving the healing with this consciousness of service, it's about loving unconditionally the person. And that's when you're able to be in that space, then the person receiving the healing can feel it. And then they're more likely to open and to trust the healer. I remember, you know, when I was a social worker, you know, I wanted to be a healer when I was a little girl. And I was told I was not born with the gift. So I became a social worker. For me, it's like the same, you know, without the energy. And the first thing we learn in the school as a social worker is to not judge the people. Because if you judge them, it's hard to help them. And sometimes, to be honest, it's not easy because you're a student and maybe you have a piece of bread, you know, to eat in the evening, and the people at home, they have the TV, they have everything, they have food in the fridge, and they're asking you, you know, to negotiate loans and everything. So sometimes you really have to stay in your heart. But coming back from Catholic school, you know, I was not that hard for me. But that's true, you know, if you want to help somebody, the first thing is to cancel any kind of judgment. And unconditional love is also about, not only about, you know, judgment, but it's also no expectations from the person. So it's just unconditional. So that's in the class, you know, we start telling the people that during the experience, we're going to share enormous amount of love. And they will see what is happening in this experience. And what is happening are miracles, really, you know. So, but I would say, you know, this is not, for me, this is a plus. You know, some people are healing and there is no unconditional love in their healing. I've been teaching to children, for example, and with children, they're not very much into unconditional love, but they're very much into trusting what you say. So if you tell the kid, you fill the person with white light and they're healed, they have the certainty that's what is happening. And this certainty is creating the healing. So it's not about unconditional love, it's about certainty. So I don't want to say, this is the only way to heal people. No. For me, it's an ingredient that is bringing to the experience the trust of the healer in the person giving them the healing. And when they're opening and they're trusting, they get to this certainty, this, confidence, the trust in the healing. But as a healer, being able to feel this unconditional love, it's just wonderful. It's not a condition, but that makes it a lot better.
Yeah, in A Course in Miracles, there's also this quality of a teacher of God, as one is called, of trust as being the basis for everything else. And that's what you were speaking, this certainty. Trust entails certainty. So yes, that's a very basic quality.
For me, we are creating our reality, and our beliefs, our, the words that we're using, the perceptions we have of the world, we have this filter for which we're looking at the world, and we're only seeing what we want to see, and when we're talking about beliefs, it's really about certainty, when you decide something and you're sure you have this certainty, then it happens. So that's the way we're creating our reality. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's really fascinating, is that in the experience, you are experiencing each other as one, because you're seeing things about the other person or feeling things, right? And in usually the other person can relate to that as well.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. The thing is, when you are giving a healing to someone, it's very intimate, you're reading their consciousness, and it can it's not always, but sometimes you get to feel empathy with the person. You get to feel like you're one. It's not all the time, but reading their consciousness, it's very intimate, when the person is really confident, then they open to a very deep place, and then you just look inside and you read, and everybody's able to do that, everybody. So it's not something that takes long to learn, we all have the same ability. We were born with the same ability. It's just a question of opening some doors, having the key to open the door. So I would say we just give the keys to the people to open the doors, but the possibilities are there. It's just a question of connecting with them. Yeah, that's it. It's just about that.
One of the key elements is to see each other as whole, as far as I remember, and that's really important, right? And that for that, the body mirror system use metaphors, right? A certain image that needs to be there for you to be certain that the other person is whole now, is complete, right?
Yeah, it's the definition of healing is returning to the experience of wholeness. So that means we're all whole, deep inside, even though we don't experience this wholeness. And, receiving a healing is coming back to this experience. So if you wish, when we're talking about healing, we're not talking about a standard, it's not like everybody becomes the same. It's just we are all different, and we all come on the planet for a different reason. And wholeness is about it's about being the full expression of who you can be for whatever you came to do in this lifetime.
Yeah, that's really, really important. In A Course in Miracles, one speaks of everyone has a special function. So yes.
Yeah, that's that's what I say when it's for me, life is about not comparing yourself to others, and find your own way. So some people, when I was younger, when I was a social worker, and I started, wanting to be more spiritual. Before meeting Martin, I was trying other stuff. And I remember at that time, you had the people who were spiritual, the New Age community, and the other people. So we were the good ones, and the others, they were not spiritual. And then when I started, with Martin, I realized a lot of things, it's like sometimes you have people working 8 hours a day. Their job is not really interesting, but what they love to do is to have a family life and, go on a picnic in the weekend, go on holiday once a year, and they're happy with that. And at that time, I was judgmental of these people. It's like, oh, they have, what is their goal for life? Everybody should have a spiritual goal, blah, blah, blah. And then I realized, the purpose is to be happy, whatever it is. It's not to be spiritual. So some people are just not interested in spirituality, but they're happy. They don't need a healing. They don't need a healer. And if they're happy and healthy, that's all that counts. So I like to say, maybe one of them, was, I don't know, a businessman or a president of whatever country in a previous life. And they didn't see their kids growing up. And the only thing they want for this lifetime is their kids growing up. So they don't want TV, they don't want newspaper, they don't care about what is happening in the world. They just want to be happy, have a happy family life. That's the only project they have on their list. And so who are we to judge anybody? There are certainly some of them more happy than some spiritual people.
Yeah, A Course in Miracles speaks of perfect happiness as being our purpose. So yes, that fits perfectly. Yeah, your microphone isn't on.
Okay. Yeah. I need to put the charger on my phone, so I'm so sorry for the podcast. That's what I need to do. So it just should take a few seconds.
And I'll just say a few words.
So I'm so sorry.
I've been in these courses of the body mirror system myself, even level 2, and I had a whole lot of different experiences, and I met Annick in one of those courses, and I was in one of her workshops. It was really, so there's a lot you can see about this, and you can learn a lot about yourself in discovering how to see the world in a way that can help, and is, as Annick is explaining, without judgment, and this, if someone is happy with their life the way it is, who are we to judge that they're not whole? They are whole because they're happy.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you hear me?
I hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't know if you would hear me. And oh, okay.
Please turn your video back on.
Yes. Okay. Sorry about that. You know, I come from a planet where we just do everything with the spirit. So I'm not so good at touching buttons. Okay. So now you see me and you hear me, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. Good. So do you have any other questions, Wanako? What do you want to know?
What might be nice is to give us some examples from your life and how you came to become certain that this works and things like that, so that we can participate in that excitement.
Yes. So when I started, you know, it's like because I had been said, you know, that you need to be born with a gift, and that's what most of the people believe, you know, on the planet. I felt like maybe I'm not really a healer, and I didn't have much trust in myself. And along the way, you know, when you're giving healings, it's like there is something that you need to remember that is really important, is that you're never presented with a healing that you're not capable of giving. If somebody finds you, it's because you're capable of giving the healing. So that's what Martin used to say, you know, in the classes. So at some point I decided to listen to the advice. And so it's like you just give the healing, you know, it's a recipe, and then you're allowing yourself to be surprised by the effect of what you've done. So I decided to do that. Instead of projecting negative expectations about what I'm doing, I was suspending all the doubts, you know, putting them on the shelf and just doing the healing, and then seeing the results. It's like, wow, yeah, it's wonderful. So it took me a while to get this trust, you know. It took me maybe a year to get to a point where, yeah, I recognize I'm good at what I'm doing. And that's what we say, you know, one of the ingredients in the co-creation that the healing is, you know, it's a co-creation between two creators, because when we say everything starts in the consciousness, it's true of the person receiving and the person giving. So it's a co-creation between two creators. And the ingredient in the consciousness of the healer is to trust that what they're doing is good, you know. So because what they want to create is the person being healed. So the trust came, you know, with some healings. I remember one of them was this person. She had pericardite, you know, and I didn't know what it was. It was an old woman, and the symptom was threatening her life. And the doctors, they hesitated to do an operation because of her age, and the anesthesia was a threat to her life too. So I didn't know what the symptom was, so I asked a person who knows, and she said it's like water around the heart. So anyway, I gave the healing, and we're working with the chakras, you know, rebalancing the chakras, working also with thought forms. And when I gave the healing after rebalancing the heart chakra, I decided to look at what is happening around the heart, you know. So I'm looking, you know, I decide to see what is going on, and then I see the water, I see the heart, I'm sorry, with some tears, you know, like grape, you know, but it was tears surrounding the heart. So I removed the the tears. And a week later, she had an appointment with the doctor, and they didn't find any water around the heart. It was gone. So that was the first healing that gave me a lot of trust in what I'm doing. So, and then many others after that. So that's along the way, you're, for me, I'm teaching for the past 30 years now, and I'm always amazed because sometimes people, they come for the first time, they've never given a healing in their life, and they just fall in the pot. It's like they're so good. First time, it's gone. They got the message and they're great. So I'm impressed because it was not like that for me. It took me a while to get to this trust, really. So it's very easy. I teach that to the kids also. And like I said, with the kids, you need to be careful because whatever you say, they trust what you say. So if you tell them, you put red in the red, orange in the orange, blue in the yellow in the yellow, and so on, whatever the technique we're using, they have the certainty that what you say is right, and so they have the certainty they do the right thing. And I've seen miracles happening in the children class because they think less, they have no doubts. When you say something, for them it's true. So I've seen amazing healings like this kid, he was maybe 8 or 10, I don't remember, and he had the scoliosis. And during the healing, I was with a friend, she was helping me, and we heard, bones cracking. And after the healing, maybe 10, 15 minutes, the spine was straight. It's like, what? So it's just amazing healings in the children class. So I think also because I started with the children classes, that gave me this trust in the fact that anything can be healed. There is just no limits, just none, no limits. Just everything starts in the consciousness. So of course we can go very deep, very far away with this idea. So, we're talking about healing. Some people, they come to the class because they have a symptom. Some of them, they come because they have a symptom threatening their life and the medical world doesn't offer any option. So they're exploring alternatives. Some people, they come because they are already therapists or healers, like the people working with Reiki. So they want to have more tools, or they want to learn the body-mind relationship. And some people, they come for the spiritual aspect, which is the inner knowledge. For me, that's the spirituality, is finding a meaning to your life and connecting to this deeper part in your consciousness, seeing yourself as the creator of your life. Some people, they come to heal a symptom. They get the healing. They go on with their life. We don't see them anymore, And the purpose is not to create professional healers. The purpose is healing. But some people, they come to the class and it's a revelation for them. Like it was for me. I had no idea it was it was about healing, and I just, I was surprised. So some people, it's like that for them, they say it's a revelation and they feel even better giving a healing than receiving one. And so you have all of that in the class. You're giving healings, you're receiving healings, and you're also learning a lot about yourself and the purpose of life. So that's also, when I attend my first class, that's what I really enjoyed about the class. It was this aspect of finding a meaning of my life. Of course, there was a lot happening for me. I didn't have many symptoms to heal. I had pain in my shoulders, but that was not a big deal. What happened for me, when I was a little girl, I was very lonely. In fact, often playing alone. And I remember I had this spirit, I would say, coming to see me playing. I would see this face, this guy coming. And it was a nice face, I would see things like many kids, And when I attended the first class with Martin, one of the exercise we do, we see auras. So first Martin was showing his aura, and then 2 other people. And when Martin did, I saw his face transforming and becoming the face I would see when I was a little girl, like 7, 8 or less, 6. So it was the feeling of a deep connection with this guy, Martin. I didn't know at that time, that I would marry him. So when I said I fell in love, it was more with the teacher than the man, though the man was very lovable too. But I fell in love with the method, the teacher, the tool, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very beautiful, and I like the examples that you gave of how you were. It convinced you because you got the examples of how it actually worked, and then you got confirmation of doctors, for instance, seeing the results and so on. I think that's really important. And of course, in Miracles also speaks of that. You don't have to believe it, you have to experience it. When you experience it, you know it's true, right? But before that, it's a different story.
Yeah. For me, we say it's a co-creation. So what we want to do in the class is create the ideal environment in which the healing has the best chance to happen. So, of course, the best is when the person receiving the healing expects to be healed now. So we go for the 1 session healing, okay, because that's possible. And maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. But if you go for now, then you have, that's the only way to make it happen. Well, that's one of the ways. I don't like to say the only way. And then, of course, you have the trust of the healer also. So in the co-creation, sometimes, like you said, the healer doesn't believe in the tools the person is using, but they have the door open, to something that might happen. The door is not closed. They're open to a change, a transformation. And if the healer has a great trust in themselves, then it compensates from the lack of trust of the healer, right? Now, when the healer has an amazing trust in the healer, well, maybe the healer doesn't need to do anything, They could say, you're healed, and the person would be, the certainty is what we're looking for, the certainty of the healing happening. So when both the healer and the healer have the same certainty, that's wonderful. But sometimes it's more a degree of a play between the two consciousness. So of course the healer needs to inspire trust, And again, to come back to unconditional love, when the healer gets to this unconditional love, then that's when you get this real connection with the person, when you might go to feel empathy, unity with the person, and then it becomes very moving. Some people, when they give their first healing, they cry because it brings them to a state of grace that is just wonderful. We don't experience unconditional love that often in our everyday life, So sometimes when you're very loving, you're into unconditional love, people, they have no idea what it is. And they look at you and they say, oh, what does she want from me? And it's the same, with receiving unconditional love. It's like when we're receiving love, we're like, what do I need to do in exchange? Or maybe it's fake, So when you get to a space where you are just trusting this love, it's just amazing, because you can open your heart. You can, when you're the healer, you can open to this person with trust. And then when you're the healer, you can express your love totally, which could be, in the street, in the everyday life, could be misunderstood. So it's just wonderful. Yeah. I have plenty of examples, Do you want more examples?
I think it would be nice if you would also speak about the aspect of being a parent and following these principles.
Okay. So with kids, that's a subject that I love to talk about. First, I would like to say something about education. So we are a consciousness, inside our physical body, and everything is happening in our consciousness. And we come on the planet with goals, things to realize. It might be, just having a family life and simple life. It can be, changing the world or whatever, And whatever it is, we're not dropped on the planet with no compass. We have a compass, and the compass is our intuition. And listening to our intuition is, allowing ourselves to follow this path, to reach and to realize, to fulfill the goals. So Martin used to have this example about in the United States, they have rangers in forests, and you have one in the tower looking at the forest with his binocular, and you have one in the car, and they're talking with the talkie-walkie. And the one in the car needs the one in the tower to tell him what way to follow to reach the place they need to reach, the fastest way and the easiest way. And the one in the tower needs the one in the car because they have a wonderful point of view, but no means to act. So it's teamwork. And that's the walkie-talkie is our intuition. So we're in the car driving our life, and in the tower you put whoever you want. Some people, they like to think they are on the tower, like Martin. Big Martin was on the tower, little Martin was in the car, but people have different names for the tower. God or Holy Spirit or spiritual guides or whatever. For us, what is important is the understanding of the connection, the dialogue. So our inner voice speaks a very simple language. You're moving in a direction and it's like, and then you're moving in another direction and it feels like it's right. It's flowing, it feels good. And we're supposed to move with that. So we each have a list. We come with a list. Even if there is only one thing on the list, we have a list. And so parents, children, they have a list. So for me, if you wish, when a child comes into the world as a parent, it's nice to be aware of that so that we don't impose anything on the child, but we're more like we're on the tower with them, and we're looking at what do they want to do, what attracts their attention. So just being open to, watching the child and what they're drawn to. And then at some point, it's like when you're learning how to drive, you have somebody in the car, you have two wheels, and if anything might happen to the driver, the instructor is there, to help. And then at some point, you're alone driving the car. So it feels like it's the same with children. That's what we have done with Martin, with our son, Edouard. Always looking at what he wants to do. So, of course, people, they would love their children to love what they do, but sometimes they don't. So with Edouard, when he was a little boy, we wanted him to attend the class. He was not interested in the class. So he attended the class. He was 10, maybe 9, 10. And then we thought it would be nice if he would be a healer, but he's not into that. He's been giving healings, but to his friends, when he was a teenager, he didn't want to hear about healing anymore. That's an age where, you want to be like the others and blah, blah, blah. And now he's doing something completely different. So it's important to not impose anything. So now, when we talk about unconditional love, it starts at home. So sometimes kids, they do something different, and it's important to accept what they do and to support them. And I think it's in the way we present what we do that kids accept what we do or not. For me, I never wanted to impose anything on him. So, we've been teaching him unconditional love. And so that's maybe one day he will want to do that, maybe not. Martin would have loved Edouard to teach the classes, but Edouard is not interested in that. So, but he's there for something else. He wants to bring, peace maybe in the world. He wants to work for the UN or ONG, and he will do healing another way, So healing has many forms. It's not just with energy, with hand-on work,
Yeah, I love that. The fact that you're speaking about freedom, and you in the classes, it's also one of the chakras is freedom and control, the solar plexus. And you're speaking about how you need to allow others to live what is theirs to live. And I think that's a very important aspect of the topic of unconditional love and acceptance of one another.
For me, we're in the middle of that right now. It's amazing to me. Solar plexus chakra is about power, freedom, control, ease of being. It's the definition of who you are. And the heart chakra is about unconditional love. It's about love, your perceptions of love, which is different from love, because sometimes the way it is expressed is not perceived as love, right? So it's seeing the love rather than the way it was expressed. So if you wish, in the solar plexus and your sense of power, you're like the sun. This is me, this is who I am. And the sun doesn't need to shine more or less if there is one person on 10,000 on the beach, the sun shines the same way. And if somebody is not happy because the sun burns, well, they don't ask the sun to shine less. They go into the shade, or they create a cloud between themselves and the sun. So it's about the freedom to be yourself, knowing that whatever you want to do, you can do it. Sense of power. And you have your space. This is me. This is my space. And then when you go into the heart chakra, the separate spaces disappear, and you have just one space. The key word from the heart chakra is including. we're included. We're in the same space. We're breathing the same air. So in the solar plexus chakra, I am a sun in my universe. And the idea, is to see the other person and every other person like a sun in their universe. Whatever you want for yourself, you want for the other person. So the healthy way to relate to other people is sun to sun. I own my power, you own your power. So sometimes, we want to take responsibility for other people, but in fact, it's a lack of respect if we see, if we look deeply, because then we don't see them as owning their power. We don't see them powerful. We see them powerless, and that doesn't help. So it's important to, when we give a healing to somebody, to see them as powerful, owning their power, and having the power to achieve whatever they want. So that's an aspect. So, it's like the consciousness of the planet is moving now, from solar plexus chakra to heart chakra. So moving to a space where we're included, we're breathing the same air, we're together, like the immune system, helping each other, and frontiers are supposed to disappear, and then, of course, you have resistance to this passage with whatever is happening in the world. It's a very strong time on the planet right now. So knowing that our certainties are creating reality, our perceptions are creating reality, we are, it's important to be vigilant with our beliefs, our perceptions. It's like the story of the 100 monkey, you know the story about this studying that they did in Japan, last century in the 50s. They were studying the monkey's behavior. So you had this archipel, few islands north of Japan, where they were observing monkeys. They were feeding them with potatoes, and one day one of the potatoes falls in the sea, and a monkey takes the potato. It's clean, it's salty, it's better. So he starts, washing his potatoes, and then the second one, and then the third one, and then the fourth one, and so on. And the day the 100 monkey on this island started washing its potatoes, all the monkeys in all the other islands started, washing their potatoes. And it's the same when we look at the studies about the power of the mind. If you ask 1% of the population of a city to meditate every morning, in the following weeks, criminality drops. So it looks like the more we hold positive perceptions, the more we energize, energy of the heart chakra, the more we spend time feeling unconditional love, and the more we help bringing peace to the planet. It's energy, it's a vibration. So for me, I always encourage people to spend time during their day to feel love. And it can be at home, you can do meditation about loving the planet, or you can love every member of your family, even the hardest one. You can find a way. And then your neighbors, and then your city, and then your country, and then the planet. And, it's a good exercise to do. I remember the first class I attended with Martin. He said one day he was giving a conference, and he asked to the people, how much of your day do you spend feeling love? And just a few people raised their hands, and he said that's very sad. That's very sad. You should be able to do it consciously. If you don't feel it around you, take a moment, stop your day, be in your heart, think of someone you love, and feel this emotion, growing in you, and that's stimulating your immune system, which is good by the time being, and you're bringing more love on the planet. But anyway, we're we can talk about a lot more about that. There is so much to say.
At this point, I would give everyone the opportunity to ask a question or comment if you like. Just need to raise your hand and I will let you speak. And if not, we will continue the way we are. Okay, it looks like we'll just continue. So yeah, this is really important, this aspect of how what we experience or our learning, that it's something we are providing for everyone. So everything you decide to accept yourself or to come into your own fullness is providing others with that as well.
Yeah, we like to say, from a certain point of view, we're all one in the deepest part of our consciousness, which is our crown chakra in the deepest part. That's what some people call God. Some people call it I am, the only consciousness, whatever name you give it. And if we're just one, when you heal yourself, well, you're healing the consciousness. And when you're healing somebody else, you're healing yourself. So I like to see things from that point of view because, when you see things from that point of view, you are conscious of everybody's tower. And for me, it's like one big family. And you never feel alone when you see things from that point of view, So sometimes you might feel alone. You might feel like, you don't feel the contact with your tower. But if you meditate, and go deeper, you just reconnect, it's our tower is always there, and the walkie-talkie is always there. So we just need to turn on the micro and to listen. Yeah, for me, when I was in the Catholic school, I had a great faith, really, and I was in a state of grace with this faith. And then my grandfather passed away, and he was my best friend, so I closed my crown chakra. Now, when you close your crown chakra, you're just alone inside. You cut yourself from unity, just alone inside. And I spent a few years like that, just being alone and not believing in God anymore because he took my best friend. And when I attended my first class with Martin, at some point, I had this memory, I remembered the faith, this feeling of grace, of feeling connected. And I thought, wow, that was so nice. I miss that. I miss it so much. So I put it on my list. I would love to come back to this grace that I used to feel. And I did, I did. And I came back to the same quality of trust, of faith, not in a God, the way the Catholic Church, describes it, but in my tower, you know, so in my soul and in this unity, this consciousness, you know, this family that we all are, and this one consciousness, which is not, there is no hierarchy there, you know. For me, I'm looking at what is happening on the planet, in the universe. It's really interesting, you know. I see everything happening as a model. So the family, the model of the family, you know, you have children, they live the family, they live their dreams, they live their life, but the door to their parents is always open, so they can come back whenever they want, you know. And for me, it's like that, you know, with consciousness. We all come from the same family, you know, the same place, the same consciousness. And the purpose is not to go back home and to stay there. The purpose is to go out, to live an adventure, to, you know, whatever we are curious about, you know, to just boogie down the road. And the idea is it's better when you don't forget home, you know, and you know you can go back whenever you want. And even if you don't go back, if you don't forget and you feel the contact, you know, it's like when you're living on this other side of the planet and you call your parents once in a while. So for me, that's the way I see life. You know, it's this sense of we're all connected, and you know that's why, you know, and they call. So some people they call that a coincidence, you know, and some people call that synchronicity. It's just, you know, we're all connected. So it's just wonderful to feel this connection.
Yeah, I like that you're talking about this oneness and how we are all one, and we are, and in this view, we are thinking with the same mind. We are having the one experience together, and there's no sense of loneliness because of that. You are always connected with purpose, with love, with unity, with knowing, right? And the certainty that you were speaking of, it's all there. And it gives you the foundation for many other things.
Yeah, exactly. I love to talk about that, you know. We haven't been talking so much about the body mirror system, more about love, but that's I think it's important. It's an important ingredient. That's more the aspect of self-knowledge and finding a direction in your life. That is part of what the class brings, in fact. So it's just another aspect of the body mirror system. Yeah.
Yeah. Are there
I'd
any
love to have
questions or comments now? Oh, sorry.
yeah, right. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then of course we can go into some of the aspects of the chakra system, but I think we were more into looking into how it changed your worldview and how it has provided you with a perspective that you are enjoying life in, right?
Yes. For me, you see, it's like I have this trust that is I don't want to see I don't want to say a blind trust, you know. It's a bit when you're a healer, you know, it's a bit funny, but it's like I can see the perfection, you know, in the way I was raised and everything happening in my life, and that's something that people can do. You know, it's like since the day you were born, there is something So something about what is on the list. So sometimes people, they come and they're in a movie where their mother is not there. And in their consciousness, the connection with the mother is associated with the root chakra, which is about trust, survival, feeling rooted, and nourished. And sometimes they're in this kind of family because what is on their list is experiencing being their own roots, not depending on anybody else outside themselves. And once they have they got this, that they are their own source of nourishment, then they can reconnect with their mother. It's the same with people growing up without a dad. Usually when, the relationship with the father is connected to the crown chakra. So when you lose your father, when, whatever the father is, passing away, or there is a divorce, or whatever, when there is a sense of separation with the father, people tend to close their crown chakra. So that's what I did, when my grandfather died. And when you do that, when you close your crown chakra, the side effect of that is that you develop the sense that you are your own direction. So that teaches you to see God inside. And maybe that's the purpose of what is happening. Maybe that was on your list. And then when you are experiencing being your own God, then you can reopen your crown chakra, and you don't need to see people outside, authorities outside like the enemy, but get to this sense of unity that we were talking about. So you're looking at your life like this, and it's unusual when it's a direct train to destination, your main goal. You have a main goal. And more often you have to take a different train, and you need to not take them to destination because you're losing time. So that's the purpose of the compass, the listening to your intuition. So sometimes you're having an activity, and then you don't feel like doing that anymore, and then thinking another train, another activity, and then another one, and then another one. And then you get to a point where you look back and you say, oh, okay, you see there is a pattern, there was a purpose in every part of the trip that you took. You're learning something in each part, and then you get to see something showing up, oh, maybe that's the train driving me to destination. So for me, the Catholic school gave me a lot of qualities, with love. Of course, I had to change a lot about prosperity and sexuality. I had to, change a lot. And but with love, it was nice. I was raised by angels. They were angels. The nuns were really nice. And then after that, I spent a year in the United States, so I learned English. And I know I had an appointment with Martin years later. So it's easier, to speak fluent English when you're going to marry an American guy, because you don't learn English in French schools. And then even the social worker school, again, learning about service, learning about unconditional love, and how to help people, in the best way. So I'm looking at everything, and I see perfection. Even when Martin passed away, it's like the way things happen. I wrote a story about Martin passing away, and all the synchronicities, and understanding that everything was happening for a purpose. So for me, I have this certainty for myself, for my son. I know he will be happy. I know he's having this same trust, and that's what I like to teach. That's what I like to give the people. This trust. First, finding what is your sense of direction. Why are you here? And again, not to compare yourself to anybody else. When you're listening to your intuition, you can say, I love where I am, I love what I'm doing, I love who I'm with, each single moment, each present moment. And if you're not able to say, I love what I'm doing, when you do the same thing over and over, well, you need to stop, And so what is it that you love to do? What is it that makes you happy? That's what brings you to what is on your list. And maybe it's just, going to work, in the morning, drinking coffee with your colleagues and do your job, go back and cook a good meal for your kids and do barbecue in the weekends. I remember we used to live in Denmark, and we're traveling a lot. So one day I was in a taxi going to the airport and chatting with the guy, and he said, I'm a lawyer, but I had too much work. I wouldn't see my kids. I was fed up with work. So I decided to quit and to become a taxi because I love to drive. And I thought, that's great. And he said, yeah, I see my kids, I bring them to school in the morning, I pick them up in the afternoon. And he said, you're the first one to tell me it's great. Usually people, they say, but are you crazy? You are a lawyer. And he said, yes, but I was not happy. I would earn a lot more money, but I would pay a lot of taxes. And then I would work in the evening. He had no life. So that's what we're talking about. What makes you happy? Some people, they're happy baking bread, and some people are happy giving healings, and whatever it is that makes you happy, you can earn a living with. And people, they think everybody would like to be an actor or a top model or whatever. It's not true. Some people, they want to be a mechanic. They love that. When everybody finds their place of harmony, then you don't want to become somebody else. You don't want to be in another place. You don't want to do something else because that's where you are. That's what you're doing. That's who you're with. And that's, for me, what I like to teach people. So healing is about symptoms, of course, but it's also about finding your place of harmony. Yeah, your sense of direction.
Yeah, that's a really, really beautiful goal and a beautiful intention to share. I like that.
Do you have another question, or you want more example? I have an example that I would like to share to illustrate, what we're doing. So I was teaching this class in.
One moment, there was a question, and then you can give your example. So
okay.
Go ahead, Michael.
Hi, Annick.
Hey.
I just wanted to say, I don't have a question. I wanted to say how much I love all the things that you're saying. I love the emphasis on freedom and the understanding of our sovereignty as God beings. It's such a refreshing point of view. Also, your emphasis on trust, and so that you can see the divinity in each person and their wholeness, and realize that that's the key to healing. That healing is really a return to wholeness, not something new, but something normal, actually.
Yeah.
And I really love everything you've been talking about. I've been enjoying it very much. I just want to thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Michael. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate. Thank you so much.
Okay, now you can come with your example.
Yeah. So I was teaching this class in Lisbon, in Portugal. And there was this lady, you know, she was 29 and she was blind in the right eye. So I asked her, you know, when did you get blind? And she says, when I was 4. So what was happening when you were 4? My dad left, my parents divorced. So what is interesting is, you know, according to our map, with the chakras and the polarities, for people born right-handed, the right side is the male side and the left side is the female side. And for left-handed people, it's the other way around. So the male eye, when you're a child, is usually the eye through which you see the male in your life, which is dad. So it's interesting that she got blinded that eye when the dad left. So anyway, apparently, you know, there was a problem. The dad left, the mother was angry, so the kids were angry at the dad, so they hated their dad. So she never saw her dad from age 4, you know. So I'm talking to her, you know, and I'm telling her that must have been hard for him to not see you for all these years, you know, 25 years. And for her, you know, it's like she wouldn't he wouldn't get to her, you know. She hated him so much. So along the class, you know, during the day, it's like things started to open a little bit. She started having memories about her dad, you know, and maybe playing with her dad. And then Saturday evening, you know, everybody goes home. She's staying in the hotel. And then next day, we start the class with a meditation and then success stories. And she's the one starting, and she says, I can see clearly with my right eye. And everybody was crying, you know, it was like, wow. And so what happened? And she said, well, last night when I went to my room, I decided to look for my dad's phone number, found it. I called him and invited him for my 30th birthday. So they reconnected, and then she went to bed. And when she woke up in the morning, she could see. So that's what we're talking about. You know, everything happening in your physical body is related to tensions in your consciousness. Everything, just everything. So the purpose is to look at what was what is the inner cause to the symptom. What is the situation to which you reacted with stress, and the stress reached a certain degree of intensity, reaching the physical body. So when we can read the body as a map of the consciousness, we find what is the inner cause. And sometimes, you know, just finding the inner cause is a revelation, and it's enough for the healing. So what we do on top of the inner cause is, you know, practice the healings. The inner cause, you know, understanding the inner cause stabilizes the healing. Otherwise, it's just you know, magnetism. It's like with Reiki, it's beautiful. But when the person goes home, maybe they go back into the old way of being, recreating the same tensions, because it's about the way you're responding to the world. It's about your way of being. So people practicing Reiki, they love to come to our classes because they get this, the feedback, you know, what is the inner cause to the symptom, because then we put people on the driver's seat of their life. They know what are their sensitivities, and they go back to a place in themselves that works best for them, where instead of reacting to events, they're more able to respond, to find a way to respond and stay centered, not go out of balance. So that's a big part of what we do. And we use chakra for that. That's what Martin has been studying. What I'm teaching is what Martin has been studying for many years with, the philosophies, Eastern philosophies and religions and the medical, the psychology, everything. So he wanted to create a method that has no religious colors, if you wish, so that everybody can understand. It's like a decoder, So that's what I wanted to say, because that's I remember that was a wonderful time in the class, wonderful healing. And when it's like that, it's like we know as a group with healing, with teaching, with whatever, the conditions were there for that to happen. And, for her to being able to call her dad and to feel this wish to reconnect, for me, that's coming back into your heart chakra, which is about unconditional love. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you for that example. It really illustrates the whole thing. Yeah, and another aspect that I would like you to comment on is in A Course in Miracles, it says you can't change the world, but you can change your mind about the world, and that's all you need to do. So you can choose again.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, healing requires a process of transformation. And some people, they don't want to transform anything. So wanting to heal somebody who doesn't want to be healed, who doesn't want to transform anything, it's you're losing your time, and you can feel compassion for them, because some people are in situations where they don't see the way out, and that's the way it is, or they don't believe in what you do. I mean, whatever the reason. And yeah, like I was saying, our perceptions create our reality. So, it's interesting with the chakras, because it's like TV channels. So you can always switch to another channel. Sometimes if you're looking at the world through, when you're hungry, you're in your second chakra, you don't care about unconditional love, you want food, And when you are, in your solar plexus, you're enjoying your freedom. Maybe you're alone inside, and it's not bad. It's good. Sometimes you feel like that. If we're talking about unconditional love, it's just a heart chakra. So sometimes you're in your heart, sometimes you're not. So, and yeah, if you're looking, it depends on which channel through which channel you're looking at, and also the state of your chakras. If you're looking through your root chakra and you are not feeling confident, you're living in fear, you're more likely to look at what is happening on the planet through this filter and feeling paranoiac. If you're looking through the solar plexus chakra, you see the play of power, with different countries, different consciousness. If you're looking through the heart, you see all the solidarity that was created with the war in Ukraine, for example. Or if you see through the spirit, then you see everybody creating their reality. And again, that's a point of view. So it depends on from which channel you're looking at the world. Martin used to say there is not just one reality, one truth, So for me, it's only a question of, as a person, personally, I feel responsible for all the words that I'm using, you know, conscious of all the perceptions I have or my beliefs. As a healer, I want to participate in healing the planet. So I know how it is important to hold positive perceptions and to send love. Yeah. So, you know, maybe I cannot change the world, but maybe I can make a difference. When I was in this Catholic school, you know, there was one of the nuns. One day she said, when your little toe hurts, your arm hurts. And I was like, you know, and then I thought she was a bit crazy. But now I understand what she would say, you know, it was very deep. Yeah. When one person hurts, the whole universe does. So when a person heals, the whole universe heals. So there is no little action. So it's like with unconditional love, you know, you don't need to love the planet as long as you love, you know, people at home. So you can start with home.
Yeah, well put. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's also in A Course in Miracles. Yeah.
Yeah. We can talk about the Eastern philosophies and you know, all the god and goddesses wanting to change the world and thinking they can do it. You know, I remember, you know, in the Catholic Church, they say Jesus sacrificed himself for the planet. And for a long time, I had no idea what they were talking about. And then I understood, you know, it's about, I thought maybe it's about karma. You know, Jesus decided to take everybody's karma on himself, you know. So go to the deepest part of his consciousness where he's just the only consciousness involved in the movie and work from that space, taking responsibility for everything. And so, well, that was strong, you know. I decided to do that once. After a week, I decided, you know, I'd rather not do that. This is too complicated. So that's, you know, different ways to work with healing. Yeah. You can have one-to-one healings, but you can meditate, or you can go to the deepest part of your consciousness. You can also, you know, as a simple meditation, you can see yourself as a, you know, if your life is a lucid dream, and what you're looking at, whatever is happening on the planet, is a dream that you're dreaming. Why would you dream that? You know. So for me, I like to see, you know, if I see conflicts outside, do I have a conflict inside? You know, so if I see the war between Russia and Ukraine, for example, I'm looking in my own life, you know, am I angry at someone? Do I have the same kind of hate, you know, with someone, or the same intensity of conflict? So I'm looking, and if there is anybody I feel this kind of conflict, I resolve it inside. And I'm thinking, you know, if everybody does the same, maybe it has an effect on what is happening outside. But that's, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, that's beautiful too. Yeah. So you are, oh yeah, I wanted to talk about the subject of forgiveness, because that's a very central topic in A Course in Miracles, and it's also central in the body mirror system, because forgiveness heals. It opens you up for love, right? The perception
We don't talk about forgiveness, if you wish. If I am a son and you are a son, then if I'm talking about forgiveness, I'm saying you're wrong and I'm right. You know, I'm the good guy, you're the bad guy. And that doesn't go along with everything starts in the consciousness and I take responsibility for whatever I choose to feel about anything. So we prefer the point of view that everything starts in the consciousness. It's not about blame or guilt or forgiveness, you see. It's more about you are the creator. So now I can understand sometimes, you know, forgiveness is for many people the key to reopening their heart chakra and reconnecting with someone. So I see it as a tool. I've used that once in my life, you know. I was doing this meditation where, you know, I had this idea that in the heart chakra, like I told you, this is a shared space, so where everybody is included. So I decided to put humanity in my heart chakra. And I was confronted to a problem because I had 20 people that I found not so easy to love, you know. So I had to find a way to put them in my heart chakra. So either it was compassion, understanding, blah, blah, blah. I succeeded with 19 of them. And the 20th, I wouldn't succeed. And the only key I found to put him in my heart chakra was forgiveness. So I don't devalue forgiveness, you understand? So, and what is interesting is after the meditation, which was an amazing experience, on the 20 people, the only one I would still feel resistance towards was this guy I forgave. And with, 9 of them, I was not having any more resistance. With 10 of them, in fact, I had the wish they would come back into my life, and I think 8 of them did. So, yeah. And then the second time I did this meditation, I didn't have to use forgiveness. You know, I put everybody in my heart, and then he was the only one outside, and I thought, oh my God, you know, it felt very, very hard, you know, to feel the love for everybody on the planet but him. He was alone outside, and I felt very bad about that. I thought nobody deserves that, to be alone outside. So I brought him in with love and not forgiveness. So, you know, and I prefer that.
Yeah, in A Course in Miracles, forgiveness is not the one with blame and shame and all these guilt. So you were describing forgiveness at the beginning as well as in A Course in Miracles, non-judgment, not judging, open-minded and welcoming. So, and recognizing the wholeness of everyone and holiness and innocence. That's what forgiveness is in A Course in Miracles. And so your description of bringing him in through love actually fits that really well.
So we have the same understanding. Yeah. Right.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. But that was nice. I could spend hours, you know, talking about love. My favorite subject.
Wonderful. That's great. Yeah. Is there anything I didn't ask that you would like to add?
Nothing comes to my mind right now, you know. Again, yeah, you know, I told you when I was a little girl, I wanted to heal people. And I wanted to be a teacher. And I also wanted to be a priest, but I was a woman. I wanted to preach. love. But because I was a woman, the only option was becoming a nun. And I don't like to be in the shade. You know what I mean? So I forgot about that, and now I look at my life because at some point I thought, oh, I didn't realize my dream. I'm a social worker. And then I look at my life now, and it's like, oh my God, that's exactly what I'm doing. Is what I was talking about when I was 7 or 8, in school. I'm working with healing. I'm healing people. I'm talking about love, and I'm teaching. So it's just wonderful. It's like that's why I'm telling people, look at your life like that. Look at all the trains that you've taken, and what dreams did you have when you were a kid, and if you talk to your tower, you're sure to get an answer, for sure. And sometimes the answer comes from different ways. It's like a feeling, you're drawn to do something and you don't know why. You feel like going to this restaurant and you meet someone who is giving you the answer you needed. You know how it's working. So yeah, so that's it.
Yeah, wonderful. And of course, in Miracles, it also says, teach only love, for that is who you are. I think that's a beautiful thing to have in mind. Wonderful. Yeah. Before we end this, I'll give another opportunity for comments and questions, and then we'll wrap it up. So anyone have a comment or a question at this point?
I see my friend Janet is there. Love you, Janet.
So go ahead, Michael.
Well, I joined an order when I was 24 in San Francisco, and they ordained women. It was a Catholic order, but it was not Roman Catholic. It was non-denominational Catholic. And we had a lot of women priests.
Yeah.
But, so that order did not last, and I'm not in that order now. And I became a social worker because that was the only other option that I could find, because I didn't want to dilute the spiritual training that I had, and I couldn't find another avenue for that. And that's a really unfortunate part of social work, is that you really are generally not encouraged to talk about spirituality, at least in the United States.
Yeah.
But
Well,
after a while, that changed for me, and I was able to use that a lot. And I'm also an astrologer, and I could use that too in my social work. So that turned out to be a really good pattern. But I came across a book, but written by a Roman Catholic layperson a while, maybe in the last 10 years. It was called Why Priests? And I really enjoyed that book. And it turns out, in the history of God, as we call it theology, that God never really wanted to have priests. It was something he did as a sort of compromise because his people were so unruly. And he thought that they needed some order, and that priests could give that. That was a long time ago, Old Testament stuff. But the question he was raising was now, in this day, why priests? So I think that, the power of the word, for one thing, is very real. And the priesthood is like the bodhisattva. It's a vow that you take forever. It's not just for one life. It's forever. As long as you're incarnated anywhere, I would say. So, but it doesn't have to be formalized in an institution. You know, it doesn't. Which is one of the reasons I love the course so very much, is because it's a self-study course, and it's not meant to. It doesn't teach any rituals. It's not meant to create a hierarchical structure at all, not even any structure. And those are the things that he was objecting to in this book, not the spirituality, the spiritual reality that is supposed to be part of the priesthood. So I see you as definitely, as you say, functioning as a priest in this life. And as far as sacraments go, I have no doubt that you are in communion.
Yeah, that's what I meant. You know, it's that's what I'm doing. I'm happy, and yeah. And it's funny because your story, Michael. It's funny because when I went to the United States, you know, it was in 81, 82. It was in San Francisco. I loved it. So, and I wanted to say, you know, if people want to have more information, we have the website. I don't know if you're going to talk about that, Wanako, but Brofman Foundation, you know, if you search Brofman Foundation.
You just give me the links that you would like to have in the show notes, and I'll put them there.
Yeah. And also Martin's books, you know, they're on YouTube channel. You know, if you go to Martin Brofman or Brofman Foundation, we have the both YouTube channels. You have interviews with Martin, interviews with me, other instructors of the body mirror system. We are 5, you know, teaching the classes all over the world in different languages, and I mean with translators, and. So you can look at the website, the YouTube channels. You know, Martin's videos are just wonderful. And then he wrote 3 books. One is about improving eyesight. The other one is about the body mirror system. It's called Anything Can Be Healed. And the third one, just before he passed away, is called The Inner Cause. So it's a dictionary of 700 symptoms, and you know, the inner cause to all of them. So it's a really good book to have, you know, if you're a therapist or a healer, but also for individuals, you know, if they want to know, you know, what is the inner cause to the symptom they're dealing with. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how one can reach you, but you've answered that now. So,
yeah.
Janet, you can go ahead. You wanted to say something before?
Yeah, just again, just thank you for sharing. I'm always inspired to hear what you have to say, and even though I've heard some of the examples before, each time I hear them, it kind of goes in. It feels as if it's going in more deep. So, yeah. Yeah, thank you for being, just being and sharing.
Thank you, Janet. Love you.
Love you.
Yeah,
Okay, so anyway, Wanako, thank you for inviting me. It was a real pleasure. Like I told you, you know, I love to talk about healing and love, and so I really had a really, really good time with you, with all of you. Thank you for everything, for allowing me to express my being.
Yeah, thank you for coming and being here. I would like to thank everyone for joining us in whatever way you will be joining us, whether now or in the future. And thank you so much for all the explanations and the sharing that you gave us to ponder, to practice, to become curious about, and to learn with. And I would like to ask you all to review the podcast, to subscribe to it, and share it with anyone who would be profit from it so that more people get to know it. And I'm really, really happy that I am able to have so wonderful guests like you, Annick, and many others who share so much that we can learn from. It's really a pleasure.
Thank you for your work, Wanako. Thank you for the invitation again. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I'm holding my phone, otherwise I would do the namaste, you know.
Okay. Yes. Okay, then I'll
So I give you a kiss instead. Thank you to the people who were there, Michael, Janet, and somebody else was there. So thank you so much. And so see you another time, another place. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
And
until next time. Blessings.
yeah,
Bye-bye.
good evening.